Uchumi wa Kenya itabidi tuvumilie, na nilisema miaka mitatu zitakuwa migumu. It is coming to pass.
Unaenda hata kwa watoto wetu wa shule wanakula hiyo mikate, na saa hiyo unaweka tax. Hiyo ni kumaanisha yule mtu anataka kufinya ni yule wa pale chini kabisa.
Any tax exemption means that there are Kenyans who are benefiting at the expense of the majority who don't have a voice to say.
Bunge ya kitaifa ndio iko na jukumu kubwa ya kutengeneza budget ya Kenya.
You build your country using your own taxes. So, munite zakayo, munite nini, lakini tulipe tax tujenge Kenya.
Na gutiri hindi tukono thamaki. Tondu wira tu ni kuda gutume. Twe haciragia tu horo wa ndaci acio. Taru turario horo wa igai wa mbeca tukauga andu ni maheo mbeca na wingi wao. Ni turahitia. Mundu wothe urafinga horo ucio ni gakunia kandi gakunia. Na tukunia no gutu twaturaga nginya hindi ya muthungu. Mumenyerere muno andu a nyumba itu tutikae kugayukana.
Kuwa kiongozi wa kunacha viongozi wadogo. Usiwe kiongozi ukiona mtu anataka kutokea pale unataka ngonge kichwa. Hapana. Sisi wote tukiomba kura hii ya Kenya Kwanza, tulizunguka tukiwa timu kubwa na tuache kuunganisha watu na ukabila.
Madharau yoyote kwa Rigathi Gachagua ni madharau ya mlima. Kweli uongo?
There's nothing like Ruto rule. What we have is Constitution 2010. Na lazima ilindwe kwa hali na mali.
I think we've gone beyond the requirements of the law. It was sanctioned by the cabinet. It was sanctioned by both houses of parliament, the Senate and the National Assembly. The court proclaimed itself on how it should be done. The requirements of the court has been made.
Sema hakuna uuzaji, usafirishaji, utumiaji wala kuingiza mogoka katika county ya Mombasa.
Is the main cash earner of the local people. So anybody trying to wish it away, it hurts Embu County.
There is fire in the mountain, and nobody seems to be on the run. There is fire on the mountain top, and no one is running. Well, Asa will think that. Keep off the mountain, there is fire. And this is what has been captured today by Victor inside the Daily Nation today. The debate continues apace, and we're given to understand also the efforts from the elders from the Mount Kenya region and, of course, the Rift Valley to try and make sure they meet up with the president so that they can resolve this simmering, ensuing, of course, contentious battle that is ongoing right now, that is also threatening the implosion of Kenya Kwanza. This is what has been drawn there. Also, Steno is reminding us about the General Gola's crash outcome. Still, we've not received the report yet. It takes some time, though. Well, so far, so good. That is what the government is saying here. I'll leave it for you to decide for this. And also, this is a catnip issue right now. No Mogoka beyond this point. This is what is also a big battle between the governors of the coast and also the Meru region as well. We continue pace with the conversation, and of course we had raised a very serious issue that NCIC is seeking now to make sure that the counties that are recognized or are named after their ethnic background should change their names. And they flagged 10 counties so far. We have Elgeyo Marakwet, we have Taita Taveta, we have Nandi, we have as well West Pokot, we have Samburu, we have Meru, Tharaka Nithi, which other? I'm missing some. Embu as well. So what do you think about this? Should they change their names, and will that also try and taper off the sentiments of ethnicity within those counties at the end of the day? So serious also implications will come to bear. Will it also take a referendum as far as this is concerned? These are questions that we're raising with our panelists here this morning. And I think we were done with you, Dan Mazo. Yes. Let's hear from Honorable Nyutu.
Thank you, Dibal. I think I share in the views of Senator Manzo that regardless of what the names that we give to counties, if we change the name of Meru County to something else, everybody knows that the Ameru people live in Meru County. So I really don't think there is any issue that, you know, that the names of these counties bring as far as national cohesion and integration is concerned. So my view is that we have always known these counties by their names. I think NCIC has many things that they can do to see to it that we have national cohesion and integration. Let us see them doing things, I mean, taking action against, for example, politicians who incite ethnic passions and ethnic, you know, things that could bring ethnic disharmony. I mean, let us see them taking action against people who affect negatively cohesion and integration. I think we have known, for example, Kikuyu town as Kikuyu all the days of our lives. Regardless of what you call it, we will always know it as Kikuyu. I mean, so for me, I think they have more they can do other than proposing a change of names to these counties. And anyway, people are proud to be associated with their counties when they are called by their names. I mean, Kisii County, I mean, the people of Kisii are happy when they say, I'm going home to Kisii. And everybody, I don't think there is anybody that has a problem with the names of these countries. So for me, I think let NCIC do things that promote national integration and cohesion, because we know there are many things that they need to address that they are not addressing. So the names of counties is not something that is urgent or very necessary for now, for me.
All right, so you deem it to be inconsequential, but Honorable Danson Mungatana, you hold a different view, do you?
I do. In the history of Kenya, for those who have been around, you remember the second president of the Republic, President Moi, at some point, he banned the use of tribal names to define football clubs. And I remember there used to be a Baluya football club, and they all had to adjust their names. And
to what?
Growing up,
AFC is still there.
Yes, but
Goromaya is still there.
Nobody associates that. I mean, you'll have younger people who would be AFC Leopards fans because they probably do not have that. But if you tell them this is a club for Luyas, many people will not join. But there are many people who are part and parcel of AFC. So I'm giving that as an example, that it had the positive effect. Yes, we know the tribal, there are many things we know about ourselves, but we don't talk about them because they are not things we want to encourage in this nation. And those, we have to prepare for the future. If you look at where Kenya is going today, Kenya is a focal point, and I'm talking as the head of delegation for Pan-African Parliament. In this country, we have a lot of people from all over the world, and in particular from African nations. Whenever we are choosing venues, for example, normally when we are having like a COMESA meeting, and you are choosing the next venue for the next meeting. If you say Nairobi, everyone says yes. Because here, it's like a boiling pot where everybody fits in. Now, the nation of Kenya must take its position. We cannot hold it with tribalism. And for many of us who have traveled outside, when you are outside Kenya, you never actually associate yourself with this tribe or the other tribe. You're just happy to meet another Kenyan. You get? And I think that is where we should go. If you look at the nation today, the newspaper, you would see a very big case happening in Mombasa Court. The High Court there is being asked by an African-American man called Mubarak.
Yes.
to declare him a Kenyan citizen and give him citizenship. And he says that he feels he belongs to Kenya. And he gives his reasons. Now, that is where our nation is going. And whether we like it or not, our nation is transiting to a very important hub in African continent. And we must prepare for this transition. And I think when the chairman of the National Cohesion is saying, let us change some of these names, he is aware that we need a constitutional change. He is aware that there will be people who will be opposing. But I'm telling Kenyans that I think the chairman, as old as he is, he's talking like a young man because he's heading in the right direction. Let me tell you, I will give you the third example now. Personally, and it's a personal example, my parents are my father is a Pokomo, my mother is a Taita. So although I come from Tana River, that's my county, my home county, but in reality I'm across, okay? Now, we lived in Mombasa because my father was working there, okay? So I'm a product of 1, 2, 3 counties. Then I went to school outside Mombasa in a different county, okay? And I finished, my high school was in Alliance, which is in Kikuyu is which county now?
That's
Kiambu County.
But Kikuyu constituency.
Yes, and then you go to Nairobi, and we finished. I finished my first and second degree in Nairobi. So, you are a product of Kenya, yeah. Now look at my children. My late wife was from Muranga, so those kids will be having half Taita blood, half Pokomo blood, half Kikuyu blood. My current wife is Digo and Kamba. So our children are Pokomo, quarter Taita, quarter Digo, quarter. So
it's a face of Kenya.
What are those people? What are those people? Can you say they are truly? Can you say they are Pokomos? It's just you force them to be, but are they? You know? Can you say they are Digos? Are they? Can you say they are Nairobians? Are they truly Nairobians? Can you say they are Mombasa? Because some of the children were born in Mombasa, others in Nairobi. So I think it's a healthy debate. Instead of saying Nandi County, for example, why don't we call it the home of heroes? Yeah? Because they call themselves, in fact, the county of heroes. Why? Because they produce those runners. Why can't we call them that? The home of champions. So the home of champions, why not call them that? Why don't we progress our mindsets towards where Kenya needs to go, rather than hold to all things that are not really keeping with the times?
So by home of champion,
for me,
you're just giving an example, though it should be in Swahili.
Yes.
Not the home of champions in English, of course.
So not home of champions in English, utaita county ya majasiri or something like that, you know. So that the people who are not, maybe I'm doing business there, you know, and I'm not Nandi. I have no blood of Nandi. Well, except my sister actually got married that side, so their children have that mix. So, but aside from that, me as Mungatana, I don't have any blood mixed, but I should feel comfortable doing my business there if I'm working there. If I'm buying stuff from there to come and sell here, or buying stuff from here, they are going to sell there, I should feel comfortable. So I'm actually urging Kenyans to look at this debate from a different perspective. Let us accept that our country, internationally, is taken a very different position. Continentally, is taken a very different position. And now, nationally, we need to actually start preparing our nation to be that nation which invites everybody and is able to do greater things, because Nairobi is big and successful because it has everyone. Mombasa is successful because it has everybody. You know, you have Europeans, you have all manner of tribes, you know. Tribes were German, tribes were Italian, tribes, every tribe of Europeans, tribes of Africans, tribes of people from other nations, Ugandans, Tanzanians. everybody feels comfortable in Mombasa, and that mix creates synergy that makes a nation grow. America is great because it is a home of many nationalities and people, and they grew up to be what they are. So I think it is a symbolic thing. I agree with my colleagues that if you say Meru County to be called something else, the Meru people will still be there, yes, but it's a symbolic thing, you know, that we are saying.
But there is that cultural, sentimental value.
It will not disappear. The culture will not disappear by preparing ourselves for the future. You know, this is where we are going. This is where the world is going, and we must start accepting that Kenya is not an ordinary backward country somewhere in Africa, at some corner. Kenya is really a continental point guard, you know, a very important position that we occupy as a continent.
Why would you think that calling yourself Marians or Kisii is backward in any way?
I'm not saying it's backward. I'm saying changing those names is a symbolic gesture. You know, that proposition is a symbolic gesture of preparing us towards where we are going. Just like when President Moi ordered that those clubs not be called the tribal clubs in whatever names, changing those names was a symbolic gesture. And then many years later, nobody thinks of AFC as a Baluhia club. People think of it as a club that anybody can join. Those people who maybe don't want to support clubs abroad and they want to be local, they would pick Gor Mahia or they would pick AFC, you see. But they don't have that thing of, it's a tribal thing like it used to be in the past. So for me, I think it's a very healthy debate, and it's a debate we should have to start preparing for the future. And our country is going forward, whether we like it or not, actually, and we thank God for what is happening in this nation. So I hold the view that debate is a good debate because it is a preparatory debate. It's like creating a transitory, mindset. You know, these debates, they help people to change.
All right. So when we begin this, then we'll also move to changing names. Honorable Nyutu will become something else. You, Honorable Mungatana, because now we know we can associate Mungatana with the coastal or the Pokomo. Dan Manzo, your name betrays you, as some others would put it as well. At the end of the day, I mean, when we open this Pandora's box, so to speak, we're opening also avenues for more debates, even on personal names. I don't know if it can gravitate to that in the spirit of cohesion. What are we trying to spark? I don't know, Nyoto, what do you think? We wind up on it so that we look at other issues?
Yes,
you don't think so?
I think we have always talked about unity in diversity. We are diverse, and we must agree that we are diverse as a country. But that cannot and should not, affect our unity as Kenyans. So let our children be proud that they come from Kisii, and they are Kisiis anyway. They are first Kisiis, they are Kenyans, but they come from Kisii. They are Meru. They are Kenyans, but they come from Meru. I think for me, we should be proud of our where we came from, and our diversity. Actually, should not be something that we should not be proud of. We should be proud of it. Build Kenya. There are many things that bring Kenya together. Kiswahili language, for example, in fact, our children don't value, tribalism and what have you. It's only with this generation. But they know, anyway, their parents have their roots from this particular area called the coast, western. I think for me, this diversity is good, and I think that is why we should even teach our children their mother tongue. Yes, that does not prevent them from speaking in the national languages. So in fact, it's an advantage If I have my children speaking in Kikuyu, everybody speaks in English anyway. Everybody speaks in Kiswahili. So if they have Kikuyu as another language that is speak, then they have an advantage. If anybody wants to be a politician, for example, in Ukamba, Senator Manzo's one of his children want to be a political seat in Ukambani. Without learning that language, they will have problems communicating with the people there. So I think it's an added advantage. Yeah, it doesn't affect our integration and nationhood.
All right. Okay, let's gravitate the debate a bit. We'll come and see also the 400 billion shillings that now is being awarded to the counties as it is. But I want us to just begin in Mount Kenya, where we are. And Honorable Nyutu, you'll be very pivotal on this to just give us the right perspective of what is happening in the rifts and Mount Kenya, as far as the sentiments that we've had so far from the Deputy President that is being frustrated by some politicians from the Rift Valley who are apt to make sure that they are setting the apple cart as far as politics is concerned. So what is your take? I'm given to understand some elders have been meeting the Deputy President. Is that true? And they're seeking also the audience of the President. Is a matter this serious?
Thank you, Dibal. And before I even address the issue that you have raised, I think today is one of the best days. A day that we wake up to very good news. That, for example, there has been a deal between the National Assembly and the Senate, and now counties are going to get an extra 9 billion. That is very good news, Dibal. And that's why I say today is one of those days when you wake up to very good news. Number two, the news that the interns in schools that have been on the streets over the last few weeks, demanding to be engaged by the TSC on permanent and pensionable basis, that finally they have won this war, and that Treasury has set aside some money to have these interns employed by the TSC on permanent and pensionable basis. That's another piece of very good news this morning. Last week, we were very worried that the Treasury had not, in its proposals, budgetary proposals, it had actually either deliberately or by mistake omitted a proposal to have some money allocated for school feeding. Now I can see there is a review of that, and some 2 billion Kenya shillings has been allocated to go to school feeding, especially in those areas where children do not get a meal. And so today is a very good day for me. The news that we have all over is very encouraging. Now, going to the squambles in the mountain, I really I'm not very sure I want to comment about this, but there has been a lot of noise that there are people fighting the Deputy President. I want to say, as somebody from the mountain, that we recognize His Excellency the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua as the senior-most leader in our region. I have not been able to hear, though, who in the mountain is fighting him and in which way. Because I have been very keen to listen to people like Honorable Gakuya, who actually comes from a county, originates from Murang'a, talking about people fighting the Deputy President, mentioning some names here and there. But I've been very keen, and I would want to meet him to ask him exactly how is, for example, the Honorable Ndindi Nyoro, because, and I would not want to mention names, but the Honorable Gakuya has been mentioning the name of Ndindi Nyoro every now and then that he's fighting the president. And I would want to ask Honorable Gakuya, for example, if I had the opportunity, I would want to ask him, in which way has Ndindi Nyoro, for example, fought the Deputy President? Because I have not heard the Honorable Dindi Nyoro say anything or do anything that, you know, that undermines the Deputy President. Dindi Nyoro has time and again said he or we are solidly behind His Excellency the President and His Excellency the Deputy President. So I do not know exactly how he is being fought. And let me talk about Mount Kenya. I have not seen anybody in Mount Kenya, you know, directly fighting the Deputy President. People may have raised issues, and you know, sometimes people, you know, get dissatisfied maybe with somebody, and I think when they raise such a matter, Dibala, I think it should not be interpreted to mean that they are fighting the Deputy President. I think I want to say here that the Deputy President should not be fought by anybody, especially from the mountain, because he's our senior most leader, and we recognize him as such, and we respect him. I think for those that are mentioning names, and I want to mention the name of Honorable Gakuya here. And I, you know, when we talk about uniting the mountain, then you start mentioning names of people saying they are fighting the Deputy President, and without saying in what manner. The Honorable Gakuya has been talking about Dindi Nyoro visiting other counties, for example. I do not understand, and I would be happy to be made to understand how, if I visit Honorable Mugatana's county of Tana River or Honorable Maanzo's county of Makueni, how that then becomes, how that then gets interpreted to mean that I'm fighting the Deputy President. So I think some of the people making those claims are creating more disharmony and dividing the mountain rather than uniting it. Because I mean, if you say somebody is fighting...
So is there more that is being said than what is being said? It seems, yes, these are just maybe a band-aid on top of a festering wound that is happening underneath, but no one wants to speak. Are there issues more than what we're hearing? Oh, crisscrossing counties, oh, fighting Deputy President, but we don't have any ironclad definition of this fighting that we're talking about.
Yeah, I think it would be good to be forthright and to be open. Because Dibal, if I have evidence that you are fighting me, then I can come out and say, on this particular day, I have information that on this particular day, in this location, you and Senator Mugatana and Senator Maanzo held a meeting in which you discussed how to undermine me or how to remove me from office. But when I just look at you and decide that you are fighting the Deputy President, and I start even mentioning your name on the media without saying exactly how, I think that is confusing our people. So, but I want to be categorical that we cannot fight the Deputy President at the mountain. We recognize him as our leader. We recognize him as the senior most political leader in the region. And but that should not mean that anybody may be holding a different view is fighting the Deputy President. I think it's sad. It's unfortunate that we are dividing the mountain instead of uniting it by, you know, attacking some of us or some of our leaders without saying exactly what they have done. Because Honorable Dindi Nyoro, for example, comes from a county. If I had information that he's fighting the Deputy President in this way and that way, I think I can approach him and tell him it is not in the interest of the mountain to fight the Deputy President. Yes, but now we have not been told what he has done. We have not been told what, I mean, so I think let people be truthful, just like His Excellency the Deputy President says every now and then. Let people be truthful and say exactly who is fighting the Deputy President in which manner.
There's a very interesting article also in the Daily Nation today on page 5, where we can see that they're saying that more than 20 elected leaders who accompanied Mr. Gachagua to the county, that is, which county was this? Kirinyaga County,
for the funeral of DP's teacher in high school, Mr. Kano Ndumbi, vowed to crush all those undermining Mr. Gachagua as the region's undisputed kingpin. So is the row over the kingship of Mount Kenya? Yeah, at the weekend, Mr. Gachagua accused some close allies of the president of being arrogant and sponsors of division in the Mount Kenya region. And we had a response also on Kameme TV. Mr. Kiunjuri said Mr. Gachagua is the real cause of his political wars in both the region and the national politics, owing to his demeaning mien that demands all to submit to him like school children. So is he condescending? Is he arrogant? And this is not really going down well with some of the constituents, and maybe also some of the leaders in Mount Kenya, that he's steamrolling over, or like a roughshod, or running roughshod over them.
Dibal, I've always held the view that anybody that refers to the deputy president as Mount Kenya kingpin demeans him. Because the deputy president, he's a deputy president of the Republic of Kenya, the whole of it. So when somebody starts saying that the deputy president is the kingpin of Mount Kenya region, I think that is somebody who demeans the deputy president, because the deputy president is in charge.
But
he's the second in command in the whole of Kenya.
But isn't that now the main issue, that we have a quest of who is going to be the kingpin of Mount Kenya? And
if you ask me,
it appears the deputy president himself is not there.
If you ask me, Dibala, I'll tell you.
The anointed one to actually take over this kingship. There's some bugbears and fears that he is trying by all means to do that, and undermining everyone, that he should be now the kingpin of Mount Kenya.
I think the deputy president should be above Mount Kenya kingpinship, because he's already above that. And so anybody who is dragging him back into being the kingpin of Mount Kenya, as I've said, is demeaning him. But as per the character of the deputy president, I think it would not be very good to discuss his character on national TV, because in any case, everybody has their character. And so I think Honorable Kiunjuri is entitled to his views. I want to believe that wherever he gave those views, he also explained why he thinks the deputy president is everything that he called him. So I think it would not be very fair to the deputy president, because he's not here to discuss his personality and his character. But I think differences are always there, and nobody is supported by it. And I normally say, because you have talked about the national prayer breakfast, if Jesus himself, the Son of God, our Savior, was not recognized and accepted by everybody, I mean, who are we?
Who are we? And you know, it's a good thing that now we're going for the national prayer breakfast, and the Bible says that if you have any issue with your brother, and you think you want to go to the altar as well, and I presume the deputy president will be there on the altar at that particular day as well. If he has issues, I think that would be a good place for reconciliation, right? And asking for forgiveness. If he's been aggrieved, or he's aggrieved anyone as well, that will be the beginning point. But Honorable Mungatano, you're chuckling, and I wonder why you're chuckling on this as well, on the whole issue. Do you characterize the whole episode that we're seeing from Mount Kenya as petty politics, or this much more to it than we're hearing and we're seeing?
Dibal, I don't know whether my view is popular, but my view is that the office of the deputy president is a constitutional office. It is not just another. It's not just another office. It is a constitutional office with specific mandate. In fact, Article 147 of the Constitution mentions that deputy president, the office of the deputy president, with a specific duty, that he is the principal assistant to the president, principal assistant, and he is also to support the president in executing his functions as functions of the president. What are the functions of the president? They are defined again in Article 132 of the Constitution. And Article 132 lists all the functions of the president. And he is of course, the head of state. He is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. He is the one who is supposed to nominate for appointment cabinet secretaries, the attorney general, the principal secretaries, ambassadors, high commissioners, diplomatic consulars. He is the one who is supposed to open parliament, to address joint sittings of the House. So the president has many, many things that he does. And who is his principal assistant? Article 147 says the principal assistant of the president in the performance of his function is the deputy president. So he should be very busy supporting what the president is doing. And above all this, the presidency is the symbol of the national unity. Because here in our constitution, we have combined the head of government and the head of state together. So the head of state, and the head of government is the one person called the president. In other countries, you can fight with the prime minister the way you want because he's not there. You can remove him tomorrow and the country continues because there is a king, there is a queen. So the head of state is different and is devoid of the politics. But in Kenya, the head of state is the head of government as well. They have combined them. So if you are the assistant to the national symbol of unity, I think you need to address yourself seriously to that function. There are many things you believe in, like 1 man, 1 shilling, 1 vote, I don't know. There are many things, maybe even you worship other things that people don't care about. But you don't tell us because you are the symbol of national unity. When the president is not here, or the president there's temporary incumbency, you have the power for the time being to exercise those powers. How do we relate with this person who says he is a symbol of unity of Mount Kenya? If the president travels or the president is incapacitated, the Constitution has defined that the person who will occupy that office is the deputy for the time that he is allowed to. Now, how do you then associate that same person who is championing the unity of only one region, the benefits of only one region, to be the occupant of that office? Are we then saying maybe the real thing is that we made a mistake? Maybe we made a mistake in appointing a person whose ambition is not the nation. His ambition is Mount Kenya, you see, which means he should be working to bring the governors of Mount Kenya together, to be an elder, because there's no definition again of what is a kingpin for Mount Kenya, or a kingpin for the coast, or a kingpin for Northeastern. So the closest you can be a kingpin of the coast is to galvanize the support of the 6 governors of the coast. So then you will have an undefined constitutional position called the kingpin of the coast. Now, if my ambition is to be the kingpin of the coast and then I'm appointed to be the deputy president, then I have 2 options. Either I don't accept that position or I re-engineer my thinking and tell Kenyans that previously I was fighting to be the kingpin of the coast or the kingpin of Northeast and the kingpin of wherever, but now I am your deputy president, so I will be the symbol of unity for the entire nation. So what we are witnessing, I think, is a very sad story of a highly decorated office being reduced to regional politicking, regional politics, and it should not be that way. It should not be that way. And I beseech the handlers of the deputy president, his friends, and those who come out to support him, that they push this idea that he is not from central Kenya anymore. He is the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. Just like President Ruto. President Ruto, by the way, I'm sure in his heart, he has a lot of things he wants to do for Uasin Gishu County. Remember, he was the MP for Eldoret North. There are many things he would want to do for where he comes from. But he can't stand and talk like a man from there. Everything he says, he must talk like the Kenyan president. Otherwise, he will attract fire from the rest of us. You get, because we elected him to be president. He's no longer the MP for Eldoret North. He is not even the governor of Uasin Gishu County, and he's not even the kingpin of the Rift Valley. He has graduated all those to a very high office that calls on him to actually devoid himself of those kind of utterances and affections.
Thank you.
Even if you have it in your heart, you cannot say it. You have people who can say that if you want to say it.
But he's a truthful person. He lets it all hang out, as is said previously. He doesn't hide anything. He can't keep it in his heart.
I agree. I agree with that. But you can be truthful and honest with yourself, and you don't have to tell us, you know, with yourself or with your friends. You don't have to tell us, because your position, you've taken an oath. Your position demands. I mean, it's like a judge. A judge of the High Court may be presented with a case that on the face of it, he thinks this is rubbish. But he cannot come and say, oh, by the way, you go to a public rally at a funeral. You say, by the way, I'm a judge of the High Court sitting in Mombasa, and there's a very stupid case which has come before me, and I'm going to determine that case. You are reducing yourself, because that is not your calling. That is not your office.
Thank you.
The most you can say is that there's a matter before me, and we will wait to see how we will determine it. And as a deputy president, whether you have regional fighting and whatever, those are there, but you will handle them in a manner that brings heshima to that office. Because, you know, politics, you descend down, it will come for you, you know, and when you come down there, you will meet other political animals. I will give you an example. If you are a governor or a senator, you have members of parliament all over. Give them their due respect, and they will give you your due respect. Go down and fight them, they will fight you. Even MCAs, give him his due respect in his area and whatever he does. Give leaders their respect, and they will respect. It will be reciprocated. But go down there and start fighting that MCA. He doesn't mind rolling with you on that mud around his area. And you are a governor, you are a senator, you will, or you are a member of parliament, you will get vetted with that matter. So we are asking that these people who we have elevated by the constitution, they should remain there, because they actually deputy head of state. That is exactly what you are. So you stay at your position. Give respect to the people who are there, irrespective of how you feel, by the way, irrespective of how you feel on matters. There are people who can say those matters. There are governors who can preach whatever you are saying. There are members of parliament, there are senators who can say what you want to say, but do not descend into the arena. Because the moment you descend there, you'll be prepared to take the blows, and which is not good for the country.
Right. Let's see from Dan Mazo before also we take that short break in a while. The question is, you think the deputy president, as is just being put here, first of all, he's not picking his battles wisely, and he's stooping way too low. People are raising questions why he should be picking fights with Oscar Sudi, picking fights with Ndindi Nyoro. That is actually beneath the esteemed office that he occupies at the end of the day. He should be the symbol of national unity. From your own perspective, where would you place him?
You know, the battle charity begins at home. You know, he was a member of parliament from a constituency in Nyeri. And when I listened to Amatinga, a very respectable senator of Nyeri, when I listened to Kahinga, a governor, two-term governor from Nyeri, say that respect the deputy president na kama mbaya mbaya. You know, in politics when you say like that, it means irrespective of whatever happens, you must honor this man. First of all, respect, you earn it. You don't force it, you earn respect. And I want to say that when you look at the cartoon of where Sudi is, Sudi is one young man who worked very hard to get the current government where it is. In fact, he went an extra mile to him and Farouk. You know, sometimes it's good to appreciate some of these young people who have foresight. And in fact, the president went on record that he wasn't so sure that he's going to become president. He thought he will end up in opposition. But these two, Farouk and Sudi, went an extra mile, you know, not only in their region, but even beyond their regions to make sure that they're in the current status they are in. And therefore, in the process, they also interacted with the deputy president. And the deputy president at home has very aggressive, you know, young people. Dindi Nyoro, very young, you know, who has grown in leaps and bounds, and is extremely talented, extremely brilliant. He started as a CDF chair, ended up being a member of parliament, and clearly Dindi Nyoro has a future in the politics of central Kenya. Similarly with Sudi, Murkomen, and all that team, they are young leaders who are growing up, and you see the complaint of Sudi is that the deputy president wants to crush you know, any other newborn who may have a future. And you know, that is historical. That happens, you know. You remember somebody sending around for so many young children to be killed because Jesus should be in that, and was even sent away to Egypt for safety. So you know, when you see the bitterness, and also, you know, in central Kenya you have Ishungwa, you know, ex-alliance, and has been in parliament 3 times, and now is the leader of majority. In fact, that's a very senior position in parliament. And when you go on to look at all that, you have also Rungu Kangata, you have yours truly Nyuto here. Central Kenya is very strong, you know, future politicians. But I think that's nothing to scare the truthful man, the deputy president. It should be upon him as the head in command to bring up, you know, these young people and to guide them, you know, unless he's failing in his leadership. Because although charity begins at home, you are now second in command. The rest of his life is going to be addressed as His Excellency, either former deputy president or something like that, or may ascend to higher, you know, powers. And therefore, it is important, you know, when you grow the young ones. I am very happy, you know, with what my party leader does. My party leader, you know, has helped grow me, grow Mutula Kilonzo Jr., grow Kio of Kitui, among many other, you know, leaders from his region and beyond his region. He has actually mentored a lot of young people like Mashako from the Coast region. All his life he's been mentoring young people. And when you visit him, even when he's a former vice president, you learn something new. You learn what history is. You learn, and he's been in parliament for many years. Similarly, President Kibaki was in parliament for many years. We never saw him picking little fights, you know, with young people. He always brought us up, you know, President Kibaki. When you hang around him, you make you feel very important and that you are the future. Actually, he will encourage you to be the future and to learn to be the future. So I think leaders should grow other leaders. I should not feel threatened by some young people who are coming in Makueni. I should encourage them. I should encourage university leadership. You know, a student leader of a university is very important. If he comes from a region, you can grow him to something very big in future, because we'll all go and others will come. And I think that scare is unnecessary. I think he should settle as the Deputy President of the Republic, He has only one disadvantage. Despite being a very experienced administrator, he was only in one term in the House. And, you know, and he was very busy actually, trying to form the next government. So he never really sat there. He was up and down. And I think when you are third term, fourth term,
Member of Parliament.
Member of Parliament, like Kibaki went for 50 years, you know, there's a difference. You see, this is a 5 term. Kibaki was 50 years. So it's it makes a difference. And I think when you are just one term, you may have a lot of fears. But if you have been around, you see, the current president has been in Parliament, has been in leadership since 1997. So he has seen a lot. He knows very many political scenarios. Kalonzo Musyoka has been in leadership for many years. Raila Odinga similarly. And therefore they operate in a different regime. They've seen it, they've seen Jomo Kenyatta, they've seen Moi, and they all went through. They were processed through Moi, and in fact some of them are very good students of President Moi. Then they have seen Kibaki, somebody who stabilized and grew the nation, promised little, talked little, but acted a lot, and did a lot of things. He even flew the commercial airlines to the US, you know. So,
you really had to sneak that in.
Yeah, you know.
All right, let's take a short break right now. Music is up.